Parliament has paid tribute to activist and former government minister Membathisi Mdladlana. The presiding officers say Mdladlana's legacy of service and commitment to the country will be remembered. The former Labour minister was a member of Parliament for 15 years. Membathisi Mdladlana has been described as one of the architects of democratic labour laws in the country. Parliament says as one of the first post-apartheid MPs, he played an important role in navigating South Africa through its early democratic journey.
A stalwart of the struggle and a stalwart in national government. It is a pity that he had to pass on soon after Honourable Tito Mboweni because both of them served in the Labour portfolio and did extremely well at their jobs.
All right, and for more on this, we're now joined by African Christian Democratic Party leader Kenneth Meshoe, and he joins us now via our video link. Mr. Meshoe, thank you so much for your time this evening, sir, on SABC News. Of course, a number of tributes continue to pour in for the late Labour minister. And as these tributes continue, and we remember the life and times of the former minister, and what do you make of his passing?
We unfortunately have another great loss in one of the champions of democracy, particularly in the area of labor laws. As we know, he worked with the late Minister Tito Mboweni, who was the architect of the labor law legislation in Parliament, with the assistance of others, including Membathisi Mdladlana, who will be remembered as a very disciplined person, as professionally he was a teacher. He trained as a teacher, and when he came to Parliament, he came from being the headmaster of a school, a primary school. So the discipline of a headmaster would be seen whenever Mdladlana was involved in whatever. He was a man of his word, a man who kept time, and a man who was really, really focused as a former teacher.
And I mean, you make a very important note there when it comes to the country losing very two important figures, particularly post-democracy and pertaining to the two former Labour ministers. What does this mean, this passing mean, in just a space of a week? Also, when we celebrate 30 years of our democracy in the country and we lose these very two important figures in just the space of a week?
It is very unfortunate that while we are mourning the passing of Minister Tito Mboweni, and we are about to wipe our tears, now another former Labour minister has passed on. So we just have to take courage with other remaining and move on and take the baton from where they have dropped it, where they have left, because the work has to continue. SATU has to continue doing a great work, remembering that the man who was at the helm of starting SATU as a union was the man who just departed these few days. The day after we celebrated the passing, or we put Minister Tito Mboweni to rest, is a few days just before we did that. Now we have lost another stalwart. So we are hoping that the SATU will also be strong and continue in respect of the labor that was done by the last Labour minister, who was Tito Mboweni. Sorry, who was Mdladlana.
All right, and you've worked with him for a couple of years, being members of Parliament, particularly since 1994. And one would ask, what would you say are your most fondest memories of Mdladlana's legacy?
The man was focused. The man was disciplined. The man was punctual. Even though he was leading a union, he started a union, he was the Labour minister, the discipline that he had and that he showed in his in whatever he was doing. If forthcoming Labour ministers and all those who are reaping the benefits of his work among the unions, the union he started, SATU, those teachers have to be reminded, you have to be as disciplined as the pioneer of SATU was. You have to remain focused and train your children in schools to also be as focused and disciplined as Minister Mdladlana was.
And how should South Africans remember him? How would you want South Africans to remember him?
You know, one of the challenges we have in our country is poor discipline. And I've used the word discipline repeatedly, deliberately, because it is one of the challenges we have. And Mdladlana, the late Mdladlana, was a disciplined person, a disciplined comrade to his colleagues. So I wish that discipline would characterize the people of South Africa, particularly those that are in the labor movement and those that are workers, because the one who was a labor minister, both of them actually were very highly disciplined people. And I would wish that when people think about South Africans and South African workers, they will think of people who are disciplined and focused in what they are doing.
And Mr. Meshoe, what is your message to the Mdladlana family as they come to terms with their loss?
Well, our prayers, Mr. Mdladlana, or Tata Mdladlana, was a committed Methodist. Whenever he was with me and because he was the Rev, he would share scriptures, okay? He would say, don't think because I'm not in the Christian party, I'm not a Christian, then we start a song that he loved in the Methodist church. So I would say to them, as people who are religious, who have a religious background, may the Lord heal your hearts. May the Lord comfort you, and may the Lord give you hope for the future. You have contributed much through your son to where South Africa is today.
Reverend Meshoe, thank you so much for your time and for that tribute to the late former minister. That is Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, also leader there of the African Christian Democratic Party.